because the way we read is speed reading stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's good to read very slowly and carefully and to meditate on each word and each line. I do that a lot. I think that the first time, when I became a Baha'i when I was very young, we lived in Sydney, and there was Dr. Peter Khan was living there. Do you remember? You know Dr. Peter Khan? You've probably met him. I'm sure he's come to Singapore. And he's a great scholar and very intelligent. You know, he's extremely intelligent. And he used to have meetings for the Baha'i youth every Tuesday night in Sydney. And we used to go to them. And he told us a story one night. He said that he had to do the study guide for a book of Shoghi Effendi called The Promised Day Has Come for the American Baha'i NSA. They asked him to write a study guide for it. He said, okay, I'm going to write the study guide. And so he read the book, and then he started to write the study guide. And he said, as he was writing the study guide, he went back to read the book, something he wanted to check. And he read some sentence in the Shoghi Effendi. And when he read it, he got something from that he didn't get the first time he read it. And for him, this was unusual because he's a university professor of electromagnetism and everything. You read something once, you get everything, you know what it means. So he didn't like the idea that I would read Shoghi Effendi again and I get something else. So he said, let me see about this. So he said, I'll read the whole book again and see if we'll test this scientifically. So he read it again, and he said he got more things the second read they didn't get the first time. Okay, so he said, well, let's test it again. So he read it a third time. He got more. So he said, I'll read it a fourth time. And so he said, let's keep testing it. He said he read it 17 times. And even on the 17th time, he said he got something out of it that he didn't get before. And so he told us this story because we were all thinking how smart he is. He could read something once and get all the truth from it. So if he has to read 17, then I have to read it 100 because he's so smart. So after a while, some of the youth, we called this Peter Conning the thing. We tend to think that you read something once and now you know everything that's in it. And then we go and we read something else, and we just read book. We don't read a book over and over again. How many of you read any book 17 times? You didn't do it. So once I learned to do that, like when I did the talk on the 5-year plan that somebody mentioned, I was not supposed to speak on the 5-year plan for that summer school. They asked me to speak on a different subject. And then a few weeks before, they called me and they said, the NSA said that every talk at the school, one of the speakers has to speak on the 5-year plan. So we'd like you to speak on the 5-year plan. I said, but who's the other speaker? And the other speaker was a member of the House of Justice, Mr. Grossman. He was just retired. And I said, get Mr. Grossman to speak on it. He's the other speaker. They said, Mr. Grossman doesn't want to speak on the 5-year plan. He wants to speak on something else. I said, well, then get a counselor or an auxiliary board member or area teacher. You get somebody that knows all about it. And I won't speak. And they said, no, we want you to speak, but we want you to speak on this. I said, I can't do it. And they insisted. And this was only a couple of weeks before. So I said, okay, I'm going to do the Peter Kahn thing. So I took that message of the Universal House of Justice, which was 24 pages long, and I read it out loud into a tape recorder. It took 1 hour and 10 minutes. And for the 3 weeks, I would walk for 3 hours and play it. So I could play it about 2.5 times every day for 21 days. So how many times is that? 40, 50, I don't know. Just play it over and over and over and over again. And then I went and gave those 3 talks. Because if you, and sometimes I would be listening, like a week later, I'm listening in one sentence, I said, oh, that's what it means. You know, it hit me. So don't think that I'm reading it once and I'm seeing something you don't see. I don't see anything the first time I read it, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. But I have learned that like an ocean, if you dive into an ocean, keep diving and keep swimming, and don't stop until you find something. That in every statement of Baha'u'llah, there's something more there. So I don't do that immediately. I just say naturally, let it come. So try that. Try that with any of the Baha'u'llah, Abdul Baha, Shoghi Effendi. Shoghi Effendi is very good for that, because his words, I have to use a dictionary. Do you use a dictionary with Shoghi Effendi?
Yeah.
You don't? I use a dictionary. But in this thing, when I'm reading on the iPad, you push the word, you let go, and it tells you the meaning of the word.
Oh.
Do you know an iPad?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a camera. Why is that funny?
We know iPad.
We know iPad.
Singapore is so common that children also have iPad.
Oh, you have an iPad? Well, the funny thing is, I only got this iPad a few years ago. In America, they have a thing called Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving. They sell everything cheap. And I didn't have iPad. I thought, stupid iPad, who would want an iPad? I had no idea. And then the night before, on Thanksgiving, everybody was sleeping on the streets in America. They sleep overnight so that when the store opens in the morning, they can get in and get the cheap. Did you know about this?
Yeah.
So I was about 4 years ago. I was walking home late night on Thanksgiving, and everybody was asleep, and I thought they were homeless. And I thought, what's wrong? Are you okay? They said, no, we're fine. We're just sleeping because tomorrow morning at 7, the store Best Buy was going to open. I said, are they crazy? So I went to bed, and I went to sleep that night. And for some reason, I woke up really early, 5 or 6, and I was thinking now about these people sleeping. I said, I'm going to get up and go. So I got up, and I didn't even know what to buy. And they were all grabbing and taking, and I said, I have to buy something. You know, just because it was like I was fooled. So I bought the iPad. And it was only about $50 cheaper than normal. And then, as soon as I bought it, I put all my talks on it, and all my reading, and all the things, and it completely changed my Baha'i life. Because I have every Baha'i book in here. And as I'm reading it, I push the meaning of the word, and if I like it, I copy it, I put it, it's very good. So,